All right, everyone, we just finished worship. What a beautiful moment. I absolutely love that time. It's precious to me, and hopefully it was to you. But now we get on to 21 days of prayer for your business, and this time we're knocking out 3 days. And so hopefully you guys are caught up, and if not, it's okay. I want you to not rush this book. So I really want you to be exactly where you need to be. Um, but when you're able, try to catch up so that you can be present in a lot of the conversations that we're having and things of that nature. But I am pumped. So, quick question: who has their book? All right, all right. I'm just going to guess the three that I can't see. Okay, Anita does. So glad you guys are here. There's Cindy. I love it. And then I know Anita was driving or something, so but I know she has hers. And then either way, I am super pumped. I'm curious, where is everybody at? Did everybody get caught up? And if not, it's okay. No shame at all. Look at y'all. Okay. So some said they're on day 6, right? Is that what I just saw? 9. Oh, 1 and 4. Okay, okay. Wait, you're at 14? Dang, Sarah, look at you. All right. I love it. Well, I know for me, I tend to love to jump, but then I forget, and I'm like, oh wait, I got to get my brain back to like day 4. And so for me, I sometimes, which is totally fine, I have to like go back, and sometimes I get new revelations each time. So you might be the exact same way because that's what happens to me. But I would love to hear. And again, this is open conversation. This is not just Cassie speaking and talking the whole time, because 21 days of prayer for your business is not just my business that we're talking about. It's about you and about what the Lord is speaking to you, what is on your hearts, what He's laying down at you as we're going through each day. And so we're going to bring up day 3. So it says, you are uniquely made. And again, if you have not done days 1 and 2, highly recommend doing those because that's where you start. You got to lay it down. You got to lay down control. You got to lay down past hurts and things of that nature to get towards your unique gifts and the beautiful things that are to come as we keep moving forward. And so, would love to hear what day 3 spoke to you as you are realizing how beautifully, uniquely made you are and the gifts that you have. How hard was that? Was that hard to do your gifts, or do you feel like you're like, I think I got this? Where was everybody at on that one?
Felt like I had it. I think we've done so much work and like figuring out what we're strong in that was easy. But I think the hardest is like then using it.
Yeah. Yeah. And putting it to action, because do you feel like fear is stopping your action?
I think lack of focus in those areas. Like I'm just, oh, I've got to check this off. I got to check this off. I got to do this. Instead of being focused in what could push the needle forward long term, it's just getting something done today. I think that's more of my problem at least because I feel like I've pushed past like fear. Like I don't. I may have like a second of like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I just know that I have to do it anyways. So I don't feel like fear holds me back. I think it's just lack of paying attention.
Ah, gotcha. Who else? Hey, anybody, anybody?
I'll just say that I thought it was very interesting how these two, day 2 and day 3, like tied together with like when I did day 2, I went back to like things that I was told as a kid or like ways that I was made to feel. So like not necessarily like things that I have failed at, but just like feeling like I'm failing at things from other people's standards and like how that could have really damaged my business if I wouldn't have healed from that before I started. And so I looked at that. So that was really cool because then that tied into my gifts. And so I just think that that was a really neat, like, eye-opening, I don't know, experience. And it helps me like launch forward with more confidence, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, especially, as we keep going, we have more confidence when we know the vision and we know the path. God doesn't lay out everything for us, but at least we have an idea of where we're headed. He gives us micro commitments or micro things that we're like, oh, okay, God, that's what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to move into that. And so, as long as you start recognizing your gifts, then you can move into action and then you get to see the vision that He has before you because you're like, now this makes sense. Okay. But paralyzation or being paralyzed is truly where the enemy wants us. And so, it's a lot easier for us to just be like, I don't have any gifts. I'm not as good as Ashley or Misty or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know what I can do. And trust me, it's hard as somebody that is a helper and things of that nature. We tend to never look at ourselves because we want to be the Christian and humble and all the things. We don't look at ourselves, Lord willing. But, it's harder, I feel like, for people of that nature to really dig deep and say, what am I good at? Because I can tell you what all you guys are good at. But I know the last time I did this, it paralyzed me because I didn't know. I truly did not know. And I had to go and ask, and that's what I loved about this. I had to go ask people, what are my gifts? What do you see in me? Because most times you'll see it spark something new. So like if I went to Ashley and she sees things that I'm like, say, what? I don't think I'm good at that. But she sees it in me as an outsider perspective, then I might be able to open my eyes to something new that God might be walking me into that I would have never considered as a gift that He had for me. So, highly recommend if you guys did not ask a friend that you're really close with, or even just a sideline sister or something to that nature, go ask them today if that was something you did not do. It is a beautiful thing to kind of see because then God can kind of walk you into something new with that new perspective you might not have thought about. So, who all asked? Did y'all ask anybody? I'm curious. Misty's like,
Well,
love
I
it.
didn't do it until this morning, so I didn't get to ask anybody yet, but
That's okay. We
it's
got
on my list.
time. We got time. I'm curious
I've done
what you
this.
guys are going to get. Go ahead, Ashley.
Oh no, I was just saying I've done it. I've done this before. And so I didn't ask anyone this time, but I have done it before. And so it is very helpful. If you haven't done that, I would second that. Definitely agree to do that. One thing that, I mean, so a verse that I like that is shared in here is Jeremiah 21:11, but I like reading it in the King James Version because it says, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil to give you an expected end. And just that slight shift of not just plans, like the Lord doesn't just have plans for us, but He thinks about us. He's thought about us. And so it just kind of, I feel like, puts it into a little bit more of like a personal connection, I feel like, of just like that the Lord is very purposeful in how He created you and the gifts that He gives you because He thinks about you and He's already thought about you in ways that He is going to bring you peace and not evil. And so if you haven't read it in that version, I love that version because it just speaks to me a little bit more.
That's the one good thing about technology is if you don't have a different version, you can like swap and see what all versions say because it's beautiful. I agree. So that was what, 29:11 you said? Okay. So yours says think, or instead I know the plans,
Yeah, so for I know the thoughts
the thoughts
that
I
I
think of you.
think toward you, saith the Lord.
Ah,
And then instead of plans, it's thoughts
yeah.
of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Sorry, I'm like cross-referencing them at the same time.
Oh yeah, you're good. I like that. That's good. And that's King James, not New King James.
Yeah, just the standard King James.
Okay. That one's hard for me, girl. Like I love it. Now that was easy. I'm like, I can hold that one down. But I need like kindergarten, like God, can you give me kindergarten words that I can understand? And as much as I love King James and New King James, it's like bring me words that I'm like, I get, we all get that, I hopefully, but I do love cross-referencing a lot of verses for that reason.
You
Okay.
just gotta read some like Jane Austen and stuff like that, and then you'll understand King James Version a little better.
Yes.
There's another girl that she's very poetic with her writing, and it's not her. I'll have to find her in a little bit, but I could not. There was a book that I had and I opened it up and I was like, I can't even read half of your words. And so it was just very eloquently done, beautiful. But there's a certain type of people that can tap into that, and that I'm not one of those.
We
That's
were
not my
taught
gift.
by the age of like 10 how to use a Strongs and a Vines, and we had to figure it out ourselves with King James. So like, yeah.
Wow, girl.
Is that homeschooling? I think I'll add that into our curriculum next year.
It is not. It was just our churches mostly use King James. And so my dad was like, you need to understand how to, whenever you're sitting in the congregation and they're reading King James, you need to be able to discern. So here you go. So
Wow.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's our church uses King James. It's not what I grew up reading, but it's something as an adult I've learned, and just raising my kids, that since that's what our church uses, that's what it makes sense. And so there are definitely words that you have to walk through because they're
Correct.
not normal. We don't talk that way mostly anymore.
no.
We don't usually say saith or, so
Yeah,
Mhm.
agree. But I think it's good. It's so good. And that's what I grew up on as well. And I love it. And that's why I like cross-referencing for sure and kind of, looking at all of the meat. It's
I
beautiful.
go back to other versions and I'll like in my Bible write in the rest of the verse that they left out from the King James version.
Yeah. And sometimes that
Yeah, right.
happens. Yeah.
Yes. I did want to bring it back. Sorry, I took it away from
Yo,
the
you're okay. Go, go, go.
But the first verse that it talks about, Psalms 139,
Mhm.
the day that I did this, there was, and I don't know if it's because I was reading this, I don't know. I wasn't saying out loud, so it's not like my phone could hear me. So I know that there's that whole thing that happens. But there was a reel that came up, and the guy was sitting in a chair, and I immediately went to my husband and I showed him immediately because I was like, this is so good. But he talks about how nobody else can get what God has planned for you. Doesn't matter if you're in your bed for 10 years in a depression or you're going through other trials in your life. What you have is what God has planned for you, and nobody can take that away from you. You can't even take it away. You're just not going to walk into it. And so I love that it says the last end of that verse is all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. And I love that because it just kind of brings to that point that, we have an option and it's our choice. It's not God's going to take it from us. It's not that it's not ever available to us, or we have to cross off XYZ before we can get to that thing. It's there and the opportunity is open to us, and God already has it all planned and written. It gives me confidence, but also like peace, like it's okay.
Yeah. That's good. I loved all the verses. And it's ones I feel like, especially if you're a believer, you've heard a million times, but I highly recommend just digesting it even differently, like really sitting on each word. I know, especially when I struggle and I feel like the enemy is attacking my character or whatever. We've all had seasons in that. I'm not in that current season, but there were times I really had to sit on every word for, like, Ephesians 2, for we are God's handiwork, and realizing that, like, man, God, you made me uniquely, perfectly, in a way that I know that I'm here to touch the nations. Even though enemy might be saying all these other things about me, or even in my head, I have to realize that's not from him. And I have to go back to scripture and eat his words pretty much, like, okay, God, I am your handiwork. I am the things that you have called me and created me to be, because I am uniquely made. And I am not like, Tracy or Sarah or Christy or Misty or Cindy or anybody on here. I'm exactly who I'm called to be a part of this world to then go do something differently with, because a lot of people are going to be able to resonate with Sarah differently than me, or Misty differently. We all know that, but to really accept that and realize you're here for something bigger than you could possibly think of with the gift you have. And I know sometimes you can go to comparison and things, but if you can really digest what you have to offer and almost shut down the walls of what everybody else is doing, because we can tend to do that. And now we're marketing, well, but so and so is doing this, so let's go do that. And but wait, she's doing that, and man, their team's going crazy. And it's like, no, 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 wait, walls. I have the gifts for my team, or they would not be on my team. So what can I do with the gifts that I have to pour into the team that God has given me? Okay. And then, of course, we talked about comparison in here. I highlighted a lot on this page. Was curious if anybody else did as well. But I loved, it says, if you were given a fishing pole, fish. If you were given a football, play football. And that was such a visual for me. Did that hit for y'all? It really hit for me. Yes, Lori, go for it.
Okay. So for the last couple of minutes, Misty and I have been loving on one another with, you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you what your gifts are. And as I'm reading them, I'm going, but these are the fruits of the Spirit.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay. This is my first day with the book. I did the introduction today and didn't know she just lives right up the road from me.
That's awesome.
But so day 3 is new. The
Mhm.
thoughts are new, but also old. And I'm just wondering, okay, so if we have a fishing pole, we should fish.
Mhm.
You know that test that you took maybe in high school or when you were or first becoming or after you become a Christian, the gifts of the Spirit
Yeah.
thing, and you answered 400 questions, and how does this differ from the fruits of the Spirit? So I think I just confused myself. Did I confuse everybody else too? So sorry.
Processing. You're processing out
I
loud, and that's
am
how I
a
do.
verbal processor. Yes, Misty knows. Bless her heart. She loves me so well.
It's a gift.
Um, but okay, so how do we walk that out?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it as fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah.
I also know the gifts are, wisdom and um, generosity and
Now,
um,
fruits of the spirit are
help me.
beautiful. We all are gonna like hold it. Who was gonna say something? Anybody? Okay. We all hold them and hopefully get better at them, but they might not be all of our gifts. Does that make sense? Like we're going to hone in on wisdom. We're going to hone in on humbleness. We're going to like try our best to do these fruits of the spirit, and that should be a part of us. But a lot of us, that isn't our gift. So our
Mhm.
gift might be higher than one, and maybe that's one of the fruits of the spirit. So then you're like, okay, with humbleness or with peace, what can I do if I have such a peaceful heart? Then what can I do in that gift that I can offer Misty? When she's stressed out or whatever, then I can help her with that peace and the gift that I have, and I can pray over her. I could maybe make a meal for her, or I could do something for her that maybe I don't have the capacity because even though I have a peaceful heart, my gift might be in peace, patience, kindness, goodness, or you know what I mean, like something different that I'm going to actually
Well,
tap into more for
yeah, those are fruits, which is the evidence of Christ in you.
correct.
But gifts in my mind is different, like wisdom, the gift of giving, the gift of
Correct.
gifts,
Right.
right?
And spiritual gifts. You have spiritual gifts too.
Yeah, yeah.
I also look at it like, for instance, my daughter is very gifted at the piano. And so for her, one of her gifts is music. She's very musically inclined. And so I say that as a gift because she can play and she can sing. And in doing that, she encourages and brings joy to other people. So for her, that would be one of the gifts that the Lord gave her. I wish He gave me that gift because I would love to sing and play piano, but that's her gift.
Mhm.
And it's a way that He made her to be able to bless others and to be able to shine His light through that to other people. So that's kind of how I look at it. Is like sometimes they're not necessarily a fruit of the Spirit. It's just a skill or a talent or something that the Lord gave you. For me, I'm very organized. Like very organized. It just comes natural. And so for me, while it seems like a funny gift, right? But to me, it is a gift because then I can go encourage people. Maybe it's someone on my team. I can help give them tools and ways to help them to be more organized in their homes or in their businesses, things like that. So not necessarily even something that is spiritual, but it's just something that the Lord has given you a talent in or a skill in or even a love for that you can then use to bless and encourage other people. So that's kind of how I look at it and try and like decipher kind of the difference.
Mhm.
Yeah, hands
Okay.
down. Hands
Okay.
down. And again, because if you have the fruits of the spirit, you have spiritual gifts, you have all of that as a Christian, but you also have one extra, like, I think, cherry on top to why you're so uniquely made. Does that
Mhm.
make sense? So like my daughter can YouTube anything and bake it off. Like she made banana cream pie from scratch. Scratch. I'm not the baker. Not me. That child, I'm gonna gain 20 pounds with her. Totally. But it's a gift she has honed in on, and she is now developing that I'm just encouraging. And so whatever gift you have, Lori, that we see, it's like, oh, Lori, but you have this. And we get to show you that gift if you don't understand it or see it. And we help you hone in on it so that then you can be that person for other people. So like my daughter, hopefully will prayerfully may have a bakery one day because then she can go give the gift of love and baking that she loves to do to go then pour into other people and then maybe have a Christian store that she can like, who knows, like there's bakeries out there, but how can she be different? So think of it that way. Like there's people that can play the piano out there, but how is she uniquely different than other piano players? That's the key. Oh, that was good. How do y'all feel about your gifts? Like, do you feel like you know them, you understand them even more, or is it something that maybe we can take another time and like deep dive in and maybe help you kind of lean into those? Because that's the beautiful part that I love doing is helping you figure that out. And what I love ideas. Ideas is if somebody's ever taken the Strength Finders test, it's a beautiful one too. Mine is ideation. I can create ideas like no other's business. The problem with me is implementing them half the time and not organization. But I can come up with ideas. I can help people. I can hone in on things that other people might be harder with. But that's one little cherry on top that God has given me. So hone in on those things, and hopefully you guys can do that.
I do want to share one little thing while
Yeah.
it's something that I've been learning over the past couple years, but it ties in perfectly with this. Um, because I used to always be very like, I guess, judgmental on myself. Like, I have ADHD and I get hyper and I'm an adult and everybody thinks I act like a kid and blah, 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 like all the things. And I worked in teen ministry and it was a blessing because I was able to keep up and be innovative with the kids, right? But like, I didn't look at it that way because I was always told, like, things were always spoken over me about like, you're so weird, you're so odd, you're so this, you're so that, whatever. And now, like, even in my gifts, like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, really, if I really look at it, it's actually a gift. And you just, like, you're talking about honing in on things. Like, you can always learn to do the gift that you have better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, like, I look at it going, oh my goodness, like, because I have ADHD, I might be impulsive. So I might need to, do some skill building with that part. But because of it and because of my hyperfixation on things, am actually able to take in more knowledge and like learn more things and sit with it and then implement it. Like I have no problem implementing things. And my husband sometimes is like, calm down, like take some time, think that through. But like because of that, like I can like launch my new ideas and like I don't sit in a place of being fearful over them. And that was one of the things that I wrote down. That I don't get stuck in failure and I can move forward, not being afraid to start something new. And I feel like there's a lot of people around me that sit in the like, well, I'm afraid, I don't want to, and they like overanalyze everything and then they get stuck and they never move forward. So I don't know if that's encouraging to anybody, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I know I have the impulse thing, and sometimes I have to calm myself down for sure. I'm like, hold
It's
up.
hard.
Oh yeah. I will say in network marketing, I think majority of us have some type of ADHD. So I think a lot of us here probably on this call do. And I feel like some people put it in a bad context, and I'm like, man, but what beautiful thing it actually is, because
Mhm.
we are always like we've got to stay in the know or go or something, right? So, okay. Anything else on day three, really quick? We'll dive into 4 and 5.
I put a scripture
Oh
in
yeah,
the
I looked it
in the
up.
chat. Yes. So I think it's really good no matter what. That one reads very similar in any version because I learned it in King James, but it reads very similar in any version. But I think it's really important to note that like she talks about not letting comparison steal your joy in things, but even God says that basically here. Like he's put you and given you the gift that he has and put you in his church for a reason, for a purpose, where you're at. And by not walking into that, you're not giving credit where credit's due, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
I think it's a really good one. And I love that it says our bodies have many parts and God has put each part just where he wants. So I think that's just real big to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's really good. I hope y'all write that down and definitely like go in and digest those words. It's super good. I like writing my Bible, and I put, we all should crave these gifts he's given us. Crave them. We should all crave the gifts he's given us. Okay. And then day 4 is catching a vision. So I'm curious, what did you guys write down on 26 where it says vision is vital? Let's jump to right into the question. How do you feel when you have no vision or direction? Come on, y'all.
I like what Kyle talks about when you're in neutral, you're just like, you just can't do anything. You're just
Yeah.
stuck.
I put paralyzed. I put empty because I was thinking feelings. I'm like, I feel empty because I don't feel like I have anything to give when I have no vision. Like it seems raw, sad. I start feeling sad because I'm like, well, I should have direction. What's holding me back? I mean, I rabbit trail, right? Then I start feeling unequipped, but because I should be doing this. And as a leader, I should have already, been here. Why do I not have vision? And because now these people are following me. Like it just rabbit trails. So I was curious what everybody else, if they rabbit trail and have those emotions too, because I do for sure.
I put lost, confused, very overwhelmed. The overwhelm leads to stress. It leads to feeling nervous. So yeah, definitely rabbit trailed those two.
Yeah. And it's crazy. One emotion leads into so much more. And could you imagine if we actually stopped the first emotion, how it would not allow us to rabbit trail to go towards the rest? And it's such a great visual of like, that's what they call a spiral. Because if you continually fall down that staircase of the spiral, you do spiral out of control and down a dirty hole that you shouldn't have been in if you would have stopped at the first emotion. So, like me, it's like, okay, wait, I have no vision for today, or I don't even know what I'm doing today. And then recognizing that part versus going, man, as a leader, I should have already had stuff done. I should have, instead of rabbit trailing and thinking badly of myself, I'd say, wait, let's start a vision. What can I do today to equip and move forward? Then I tend to, this helps me. I tend to then not do this. So hopefully that helps. And yes, and then I don't overanalyze everything and then just continually to go down. I circled on 27. It was, again, I'm very visual, and I really loved the fact that, like, to see, we actually need light. You need something so you don't stumble over something. You need something so that you don't hit something or hurt yourself along the way. And what beautiful thing is light? And Psalm 119, 105, beautiful description. A lot of us know it, but to bring the light, you need vision. And I think that's kind of correlates with what we just talked about. Like if you can stop that first emotion and go back to scripture or go back to what can I have gratitude or thankfulness today versus going down a deep trail of darkness, then I'm more likely to see light. And so think of it in that aspect as well. Who else?
So I highlighted a lot of different things, but a big one on like the kind of what is your vision? I highlighted the Bible is our guide and our map to navigate this journey. And so it just makes every time there's a lot of things that speak to, she's having us memorize these verses for a purpose and for a reason. And the scripture tells us to write his words on our heart. And that I believe, my opinion, that is the process of writing it on your heart, because knowing that scripture means in those times of opportunity, when you don't have a vision, when you do have a problem come up, and those opportunities happen, then you have those words in your heart, and you know what to do with them. So I love that she makes us memorize these things, and it just brings us back to, like, anytime you feel stuck or anytime you feel like you have no vision, well, what does God say? And I love that she brings it back to that.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else on vision that stood out to you guys? Hopefully you did the prompt where she said sit in quiet, worship. And again, if you're just getting started, it's okay. Just go back to this and make sure you're making intentional time to do those things, because it sets the tone. Ashley, did you have something? Go.
It's like a half thought, so I'm trying to figure out if I can word it. Okay, so I might have to sit on it for a minute.
That's okay. Chew it a little longer. It's all right. I don't know why, but a cow just came into my mind. Like, you got to chew a little longer, cud, just chew the words. I don't know why. Super odd. There you go. See, my gift. I get pictures in my head. So.
I like how it says on 28, allowing God to be your light is vision. Because sometimes we get stuck where, like, we don't know what our purpose is in this season or what we're supposed to be doing. And like that it can just be as simple as just like following him in your day to day. Sometimes it's just making sure your kids are alive at the end of the day.
Yeah, true.
And like as long as you're following him, like that is fulfilling and all that you really need in the basics.
Right.
And I think we forget that, especially as moms and business women. Like, we can just get so overwhelmed with life, and like there's so much stuff coming at us that we forget the simplicity of just like letting him lead.
Yeah. Ashley, did you process it or still not full?
Well, we'll go with what I have. So,
okay.
I feel like where I'm at in my business, I've been going through just the last few months of just a little bit of, I don't know, I feel like a little bit of lack of clarity. And I think it's just coming from focusing too much on results of where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something my husband actually reminded me of today. And I think this is something that hopefully will be an encouragement to others. But I feel like when I get in that place, it's like we said, it's that spiral. And so when I feel like I've lost that vision, I sometimes feel like what am I trying to say? Oh, it was half there. The point is, I think when we get in that place where we don't have that vision, it does say the word is a lamp to my feet, a light into my path. We know that, but I think sometimes we have to go back and not just like memorize these verses, but we have to claim different promises that the Bible has. And I feel like that is an area that we have to train ourselves to do, because it is not a natural go-to for me in those times. And it's something I'm very thankful my husband will remind me of. But it kind of ties in with that, where I was, in Jeremiah 29:11, where he talked about the thoughts that he thinks for us. And I said that, meant a lot to me. But even thinking things and realizing that even the miracles and the things that the Lord did in the Bible, I feel like sometimes when I'm in that place of like not having a vision, not having clarity, I tend to discredit, I think, my importance in God's eyes, and recognizing that he is a father who wants to give good gifts. And this is not good, don't do this. But when my husband is kind of talking, I kind of just go back to, he'll say, well, like, do you think Moses knew how God was going to part the Red Sea? I'm like, no. Do you think Daniel knew how he was going to get out of the lion's den? No. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, they know when they're getting thrown in the fires? Of course not. And so for me, when I go like, I don't know, I can't see what's coming ahead, he'll remind me of these things in my natural, which is this is not from the Lord, bend is to say, well, like I'm not that like I'm not that important. But to remember and claim the promise that no, the Lord thinks good things to us. He's a good father. And just like I care about the tiny, insignificant things in my kids' lives, he cares about those same things in our life. So whether we feel like, a Daniel or a Moses, like God cares about us just the same. And he wants to use us in maybe he's not going to part the Red Sea, but he wants to use us and he cares about those things that are important to us. And just going back to those promises and the things that he says in his word, to clear out that lack of clarity or in those times when there is not a vision and we feel like there's no way forward. Because it's easy just to like, okay, I'm just going to spend time in his word, but sometimes we have to like search out and claim certain promises. And I feel like that is what, an area that I'm learning and growing in right now is like really focusing on what does the Lord say and reminding myself, because it's just something we have to constantly remind ourselves and constantly go back to. So hopefully that made sense. That's my half thought there.
Oh, yeah. At first, when you were talking about your husband, I thought you were like going to throw him down because he was throwing stuff in your face. Because I could see me and Jason doing that. I could just being sarcastic with each other, be like, just hush it, walk away, go away. I know these things. And so you were like, I just need to listen more. And I'm like, that would not be me and my husband because I would be like, walk away, walk away. Anyway.
Well, in all fairness, I did respond, well, I'm not them. So.
Okay. See? Oh, I love it. I love it. What a good husband you have. That's so good that he pours back into you that way. I love that. Okay. Anybody else? Any like moments? I know we're way over on time, and so forgive me on that. We're gonna have to get better because we're gonna try to get 3 days each time. So I'm gonna have to like, and I don't want to because this is good meat, this is how we grow, but we're also gonna have to respect everybody's time too. And I know we're not even on day 5. So, and me personally, I still need to finish fully day 5. So I did not fully finish day 5, but I would love to hear what everybody took out on day 5 if they want to really quick. Be intentional.
Highlighted and then like wrote next to it, this is my biggest problem, which I've alluded to before. The loudest or the closest thing to us at the time is usually what wins our attention. I feel like that's like big. I just lose focus because like, oh, the kid said this. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, they need this.
And was that on 32?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's true. And we always feel, especially as moms, that other things have to come as priority way more. And that is something that then lacks vision, because if we actually had things mapped out in a vision of and days go different, right? Like days are going to happen to where things don't go like as planned. But if you at least have a written out idea of how the day should go, I feel like then you're a lot more intentional with the time that God has given you and promised you so that you can pull out the things he's asking you to do a little bit more intentional. Like there's one girl that I follow and she's doing 365 days of sharing about Jesus, wherever she's at, gas station, whatever. Could you imagine if she allowed her day to get ahead of her and she did not post her video for that day because life was crazy or she couldn't make it out or whatever? She's very, very intentional with what the Lord put on her heart to do. Could you imagine if we got to that point till we were that intentional that we made sure that it happened no matter what was going on in her day? I love following her for that reason, because 365 days she's sharing about Jesus and she doesn't miss that I've seen so far. It's just great reminder of like how important is the things that God has put on my heart to do. Because if I keep putting it off, am I really intentional with it? So, who else? I know in 32 where she's like, I don't know about you, but what boils down to my intentionality, like not being intentional, is pretty much lack of focus or being too busy. We all can be too busy. Too busy can be just scrolling or mindlessly doing stuff because you don't want to do things. You don't want to go and check in on that customer that might turn off their subscription or cancel their order or whatever. You don't want to go do those things. So then you stay busy doing other thing and saying, "Oh my gosh, I've been so busy. I'm so sorry. I'm just now getting to you." When really it was because you might have, and I'm stepping on my own toes, had not wanted to. You didn't want to be intentional to do those things so that you just stayed busy, even though you knew exactly what you needed to do. So, but yeah, lack of focus sometimes that hits me for sure. And that's why I like planning out my day the day before. So I know at some times where people will plan out their whole week. There was a podcast on it, and I even listened to that for a long time, and how you plan out every Sunday, you plan out your whole week. I find for me, I have to do the night before because everything, I love living my life kind of flexible. Because if, let's say, Christy's in town, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm driving through, would love to come see you." Okay. So then I can have a little bit of flexibility and not be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't. I've got to get this, this, this." So I like doing a day before because then I can know there's less likelihood of things changing my vision for that day. So I don't know how you guys do it, but that's a helpful tip that has helped me.
I do both. I have things set because there's things that don't change from week to
Yeah.
week, but I set everything. And then the night before I go, okay, I need to wiggle this here. This may need to shift here. But that way, because I like having a weekly plan because it sets my intention for like the family as well, not just for me. Because the family, we don't necessarily have daily intentions, but we do have weekly intentions of what we want to focus on through the week. So by setting my stuff, then I know where I can wiggle. And I like having things planned. I like routine. I thoroughly enjoy doing the same thing every day with things thrown into the mix here and there. You know, like I like having, oh, this is I call it my flex time. I like having specific, this is whenever I can do anything that pops up in the window, that I can do that. But I know that I work really well off of routine, and I know that I do not work well when nothing goes according to plan.
Same.
So that's why I think I plan it out for the week, because then I feel like I'm set, like I feel that peace in that. But then I also know each night, okay, well, this popped up and this happened, so I've got this, and it just gives me way more peace and flexibility in my schedule. And things have worked well doing it that way.
Good. Yeah, and I feel like there are going to be blocks where you're like, we homeschool during this time, or we do this during this time. Those are always never changing, but it's the like you said, buffer time in between of that's the flexibility of like, okay, these are the things that I'd love to get done, like customer care or whatever during these times. But at least you're like, I could move that to here if Misty called me and needed me and I needed to pray for her, or whatever is going on, right? Then you can, as long as it's intentional of getting the majority of that done that day. I like doing a kind of a variation of that. So I literally will put everything in here because I'll tend to forget of like I needed to pick up flower stuff today and I needed to go to the Dollar Tree. Like I have everything in here per time so I don't forget. So I have a very forgetful brain. Anyone else on intention? And again, if you did not finish, because I know I didn't, and if there's something that stands out next week, please pop it in as we get started. But next week, we're going to be doing 6, 7, 8. Because the goal is to try to be done by the end of the month, if not the beginning of May. Because I really want to make sure that, that it is supposed to be 21 days of prayer for your business, but I want to make sure that we're doing this as like a life group, like this setting, so that we can lean on each other and be here for each other. But is there anything else on intentional? It's a little bit longer. It's one of the longer ones, and that's why I didn't get finished. I thought I was going to, but our homeschool stuff took a little bit longer.
Can I just read 3 things? I won't comment on it. I'm just going to read them since
Yeah.
time. But it's on page, all of it's on page 34. I really enjoyed this. She said, you begin to feel off balance when your values fail to make it into your daily life. And I think that's huge because prayer, I feel like for a lot of us, prayer is something that's hard, right? If we haven't practiced it and put it that way, somebody may have, and I'm not that person. I'm working on it. But it's really difficult to make sure that we have that intention in there. And then she says shortly thereafter, saying yes to every single thing that comes your way can leave you stressed out, especially if you push your values out of the way. And then I really loved down in Jeremiah 6:16. There's a song, I said I wasn't gonna comment, but I'm going to, sorry. But there's a song a hymn that we sing in our church, and we sing all a cappella. We don't have instruments, it's all a cappella, 4-part harmony singing and stuff at our congregation. And we have a song called oh my gosh, and I'm gonna say ancient words. And it talks about give me the ancient words, give me the ways of old. And I love in Jeremiah 6:16, it says, stand at the crossroads and look, ask for the ancient paths. And I don't know, that just hits something hard with me. It just clicks really, really good. God's given us the Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun. God has given us everything that we need, and we just need to ask for that. So I loved those.
So good. I love this book. Every single time there's always new revelation because you're always in a new season to get something new. And so I highly recommend, do this again with your team too, and help them pour into their business for 21 days. And again, do it 2 months long, do it 3 months, however long you need to, so that you all are soaking it in together and diving into his word. Now, if that's not your team, or if that's not, that's okay. I know for me, I had to set a new mission of what my team looked like as we rebuilt the team that we have today. And that's what I do. And people can opt in or opt out. And that's the beautiful part. And so the ones that do opt in, I love it. And I'm going to pour into them and pour into the ones that are ready when they're ready. So, and be intentional when I can. I love it. Okay. Anything else that stands out, please post in the comments, or we're going to come back to this next week. But dive in, try to catch up, but make sure you're not rushing through it so that you can actually hear God's word. So I'm so glad that you guys are here. Bye, guys.